And welcome once again to RacerTV.com as GNCC Live rolls on here on a Saturday from the ITP Powerline Park GNCC. And this is time now for the UTVs, the side-by-sides. Hello everyone, Rodney Tomlin along with Chuck Lee Master and Megawatt Matt Watson as we bring to you live coverage of the 5th round of the UTV racing here in 2015 as we get set to go here in St. Clairsville, Ohio. 27 XC1 Pro riders going to be going to the track, 17 XC2 Pro Sport riders. We got XC3 lights, amateur modifieds. Yes, we've got even more. We've got amateur limited and trail drivers ready to go here today in the number 1 car from Pataskala, Ohio. It'll be Kyle Cheney driving, your defending champion, with Chris Bithell sitting along in the passenger seat. The number 3, John Yoakley from Tompkinsville, Kentucky. It's Jared McClure riding along in the passenger seat there. 1 minute, guys, 1 minute. Number 4 car, he is a multi-time motocross and dirt track racer, as well as a former GNCC racer from Massillon, Ohio. Tim Farr, along with our newly crowned WMX champion, Angel Knox. William Yoakley in the number 5 car out of Tompkinsville, Kentucky. The number 6 car will be Larry Hendershot with Braden Henthorpe riding shotgun. The number 7, Mouse Pratt out of Jefferson, PA, with Danny Badillon in the car with him. The number 9, Marcus Pratt out of Carmichael's, PA. He's got Donnie Novak riding shotgun. It is 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds to go now, folks, as we turn our attention there to Ricky Towery up near turn number 1, and just we'll introduce you to those rest of the teams coming up here shortly. But right now we turn our attention up to Ricky Towery as this race is about to get underway, and row number 1 about to take off in less than 10 seconds. And they're off as the green flag waves, and it's the number 1 car of Kyle Cheney. Cheney taking to the early lead in this one. Let's see if he can hang on to it again. He's got Chris Bithell riding shotgun with him. The number 6 car of Larry Hendershot out of Marietta with Braden Henthorne there running in the number 2 spot. Row number 2 getting ready to roll. We got Tim Farr, Marcus Pratt, John Klett, Steve Matco, and John Barnes getting set to roll from that XC1 Pro class. They're off and going. The 591 car of Steve Matco out there taking off. That is one of the wicked built machines you see out there to the early lead in this one. He's going to be tough to beat, but he's got company coming in the 995 car. That's John Barnes. Row 3, Clint Zittner, Justin Fleming, Paul Greenwood, Jason Luberg, and also Jason Smith. Jason Luberg and Jason Smith ready to go. The 101 car, Jason Luberg. I don't know if that's former ATV motocross great Jason Luberg or not, but if it is, that behemoth man is that sponsored ride is off and rolling with the early lead in this one. John Yoakley in row 4 with William Yoakley, Devin Steedley, Jamie McCoy, Richie Curley, and Zach Sikowski ready to roll. Waiting on that green flag to wave as row number 4 off and rolling. Wow, a drag race. It's the 3, the 5, and the 990. The Yoakleys and Zach Sikowski. Sikowski on the outside. Sikowski with the green roll bars and the pink flaring out in support of breast cancer awareness. And we got the 88 car over on his top, Rich Curley. They get him back on the 4 wheels. He's going to roll row 5, gets set to roll. Justin Lukic, Spencer Modlin, Ryan Springer, Franco Lander, Hans Ada, and Craig Greenwood will be rolling next in this XC1 Pro class. This is the last row, 5 rows, 27 XC1 drivers taking off today, and Ricky Towery will be finding his spot back there in the first turn here in just a moment, making sure that that first turn region is clear and safe. That is the important thing. Again, folks, as we've told you, these things are very wild and wiry, and you got to be on your toes at all time. I think the race fans are figuring that out here pretty quickly as Ricky Towery resets himself up near the first turn, and we resume our starts now with row 5. Again, it's Lukic. We got Lukatek, I guess it is, Modlin, Springer, Olander, Ada, and Greenwood. And Ricky says, you can't be there. So they're trying to get him out of the way so he's not going to get anybody hurt, get himself hurt. So waiting on the official word there from Ricky Towery and trying to get some verbal calls. They're trying to get him up out of the apex of that turn. So the next starts do not have to be concerned. All right, looks like he's out of the way now, guys. So ready to go next. And Ricky Towery lets them know less than 10 seconds. And they're off. Wow. And here we go into the second turn, and it is the 541 car of Ryan Springer taking the early lead in that row. Row number 6, Michael Swift, I think, if I'm not mistaken, may have just won the 4x4 overall today. Drew Kreselitz, Jonathan Power, Sean Bogdan, and David Plavy. So Michael Swift is battling for a championship, and he's one step closer. He won that overall this morning. And he's out here racing the UTVs today in the 21 car, but it is up front right now. The 75 car of Drew Kreselitz out front. Row 7, Chris Brockaway, Seth Mitchell, Brian Riggs, Mike Jenkins, and Craig Vanderhoof. By the way, this is the second row. XE2 Pro lights rolling next. And there they go. .820 car, Craig Vanderhoof taking to the lead, and oh, it's stolen right away from him. And Mercy missed the number on that car that did a great job there. It is John Henry coming up next, along with the great Mike Penland, Digger Doug Gust, Richard Berkey, and Gary Conklin ready to roll now. Digger Doug Gust, he is a former ATV motocross national champion, one of the toughest and oldest on the circuit in his day, man. I tell you what, good to see some of these old MXers out here with us. We got the 33 car out front, though, early on. It is Digger Doug. We're not far behind. Mike Penland is the 33 car, the man that pretty much started the revolution. I think is even responsible for these UTVs as we go next with the row 7, Chris Brockway, Seth Mitchell, Brian Riggs, Mike Jenkins, Craig Vanderhoof off and rolling there. Actually, that was them. This is John Henry. Nope. This is Robert Boynton and Jamie Held. If I get to the right row there, that's row 9. Hey, it's been a long day. The 92 car of Jamie Held grabbing the early lead, last row of XE2 Pro class. Row 10, XE3 Lights, Dan McConaughey, Andrew Evans, Garrett Harvey, and Josh Miller getting set to roll next on row number 10. And they're off. The 393 car, Garrett Harvey, followed by the 39 car, Dan McConaughey around the inside. Harvey's got the edge, and heading into turn 2, he will have the edge there as well. Amateur modified coming up next, Chris Wolf, Bob Nether, Kevin Trantham, Bill Ross, Sam Collins, row number 11, set to roll now. They fire him up there, man. The 69 car, Chris Wolf, he had some good reaction time. We saw him race the Polaris Ace race earlier this morning at 9 o'clock. And he starts off well here today in the amateur modified class, row 11. Row 12 getting set to come up next, and that's Josh Skidmore. And I believe they may have bumped him on down there with Brett Wingfield, Blake McDaniel, Todd Harris, Jamie Ward, and Paul McCoy. I think somebody might have jumped the line there. Oh, no, that's Skidmore off that line, I guess. That was Skidmore, so that's a 333 car. So up next is going to be Josh Barnes and Lawrence Sampson, according to my sheets here. This is amateur modified, row number 14 of our starts today. Green flag waves, cars fire, and they're off. Well, at least one of them. And there's the other one. So that must be Lawrence Sampson with the early lead, as that's Josh Barnes there. Row 15, Rich Trevelina, Aaron Davis, Mike Himes, and Vicky Fowler. Yeah, that's Mama Fowler there, if you're a Walker Fowler fan. 10 seconds. And they're off. Row 16, amateur limited, Austin Seelig, Bern McCourt, Rich Wheaton, and Derek Shaw. Amateur limited, row 16, once again, folks. Ricky Towery readying these guys, getting them set to roll into the first turn. We're nearly complete with our starts here. And here we go. A 1-4-4 car, Austin Seelig. Nope, Seelig in the zebra stripes. I thought he was going to get it. Whoa, 871 car. And I think that was a 411 Bern McCourt. GNCC racing number. Team name unknown. I believe this is, that ain't Brian Wolf. That's his car, though. And John Kovach. I seen Brian Wolf. He wasn't in any shape to be driving a car. He was in Saturday night mode. There's the Coastal 341. That might... Team unknown. That's the Coastal car. So that's the start, and that is your trail drivers off and rolling right now, by the way. And that is the start of this UTV race here at Powerline Park GNCC. And of course, GNCC Live will continue with more coverage here from St. Clairsville, Ohio, right after this. GNCC Live is brought to you in part by Polaris Ace, a whole new off-road experience. And by Amsoil, first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV&C, get ready. And by Maxxis, find your flow.
All right, and welcome back to RacerTV.com and GNCC Live. I am Chuck Leemaster here at ITP Powerline Park, welcoming you to the 5th round of 6 for UTV racing. This round is the first round since we had our John Penton, and that seems like it was decades ago. It was honestly back in the month of June. We were at John Penton right here in Ohio, took a break, a little hiatus, and now we are back at Powerline Park here in eastern Ohio. And the cars are on the track, and we've got a race shaping up. As you saw just a few moments ago, we got our starts all off safe and running. And in the meantime, our leaders have been checking in and running lap times. The first lap was a little bit shorter because they didn't have to do the whole course, but it was about an 8-minute lap. And as they came through, I was taking notes and looking at, well, Kyle Cheney's in the lead, and he needs to be there because he's got a championship on the line. But by the time adjustments came through, here's the running order right now. Stephen Matko is in first place on adjusted time. Tim Farr also started from the second row. He's in second place. Kyle Cheney in third place, followed by Larry Hendershot, and then Hans Zeta is your fifth place runner as it sits right now. Now, as we came into today's race, we had a championship title brewing. Kyle Cheney has a 24-point lead over Larry Hendershot, and that simply means that today Kyle needs to put 6 points on his competitor Larry in order to clinch the championship. Now, down on the starting line, I had a chance to talk to both of these riders, and they both said, you know, today's a race. We need to focus on this. We'll take it down to Ironman, not trying to win or lose any championships here. The goal is let's ride smart and make sure that our cars keep it together through the end of the race, and we'll live to fight at Ironman. So as this is shaping up, Kyle Cheney got the whole shot for his class, followed closely by Larry Hendershot, but then the second row took off. And on the second row, it looks like Stephen Matko is having a really good ride. Now, Stephen Matko pulled me aside earlier and said, hey, man, don't say my name on Racer TV because every time you do, we have bad luck. But he laughed and he said, I'm starting on a new car this week. He had the opportunity to step into the Wicked-built Pat McGuire for number 591 and made the switch in manufacturers actually over to a Can-Am. And he's actually putting that car out front right now on adjusted time and having a really good start to a day. As you can see on the TV screen here, it's a little overcast here in Ohio. We've got not a whole lot of sunshine. It's about 43 degrees out here, and with a little bit of a breeze, tends to be a little chilly. So as you see the camera panning, there's a lot of hats and coats, jackets, and people are staying warm. But amazingly, we've got a lot of dust also, and usually when it comes to racing UTVs, we think of dust when it's hot and dry and all the moisture's been evaporated from the ground because of the sunshine. Ohio's been rather dry here lately, so all that moisture's been evaporated, and even though it's cold, our drivers are having to contend with some dust issues out there. But it is Ohio, and this track is notorious for being one of the tougher tracks on the series. As you see the camera panning down over that hill, you see a lot of trees, and the track goes through those trees, and there's a lot of one-liners. Talking with racers earlier today, they said that this track tends to be a one-line track, and it makes passing very difficult. So the name of the game is to get out there and get some clear air when it comes to the fields and make up your time. But when you catch up to someone in a different row or one of your competitors that needs to be passed, it can be very, very challenging. We're going to check in with the score right now. It looks like our leaders are due in any time, and I believe right here in front of the Racer TV booth, I do see some fast cars moving, so we should be nearing the completion of our second lap, even as I speak, and I'll keep you up to date as they come through. But right now, at the end of one lap, Stephen Matko, Tim Farr, Kyle Cheney, Larry Hendershot, and Hans Zeta are all putting on a show. And right now, we are, like I said, we're more than 8 minutes into that second lap, but because that first lap was so short, our drivers have to go through the whole course now. So our next lap, we are waiting with bated breath to figure out who's in the lead right now. This course today is about somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 miles. And so the lap times tend in UTV racing, if you were here with Racer TV Live, a little bit ago, you saw that the ATVs were laying down about 27, 28-minute lap times. With UTVs, it tends to be a lot shorter than that because the course is smaller. That's very important simply because these cars, when there's a problem, it's a lot of work to get them out of the woods. So we try to consolidate things close to the pits and make it accessible for riders to be able to get back to their crews and be able to fix any unforeseen problems that always happens. We even saw it on the start today. One of the cars, as he went over, wasn't able to continue. And right here, as we watch our screen here for Racer TV, you can see how rough that track is as these drivers are out there in the beyond areas. It tends to be a very, very rough track, and so things can happen as the cars are out there. Here's one of those wood shots that we were talking about a minute ago. This is Kyle Cheney popping out of the woods and getting ready to make his way down to the finish line. Physically, he was leading this course at the end of first lap. He just made his way past the Racer TV tower, and you see him here on your screen as he's making his way through the finish line chutes. Previously, he had a 6-second lead over his competitor, Larry Hendershot. But as of right now, we don't even see Larry Hendershot in the picture. So Kyle's going to come through. He's going to visit Ricky Towery. And there is Tim Farr starting from the second row and making his way into the lead pack physically as well as on adjusted time.
Yeah, that might actually position him maybe for a strong overall right now as we update all that. We got Kyle Cheney leading after 2 laps of racing complete according to timing and scoring. Lap time 10 minutes 42 seconds. We got an 18-minute. Wow, I didn't realize we were this far into this race, but we're 19 minutes into this race, dude. And I mean, we had a lot of starts. 27 XC1 cars starting. That was 5 rows of 5 or so, or almost 5 rows of 5 complete. But pretty impressive, no doubt, the turnout that we've got here. And obviously, Chuck LeMaster, the racing action is really heating up right off the bat as the championship's really coming down to these final 2 rounds of racing, kind of like what it is in the ATV racing that we witnessed just there a little bit ago.
Yeah, Rodney, it's true. There's it's not very likely that championship could be wrapped up today, but Kyle Cheney does come into this with a 24-point lead over Larry Hendershot.
And the thing that we got to point out about that, though, is if you look at the grand scheme of things right now, Kyle Cheney has had, for the most part, a near-perfect season so far, it looks like, except for round 1 where he had a little bit of a slow takeoff, but he has won the last 3 races, and that's where we've got him in such a strong position. But the one thing to point out is, just like ATV racing, it seems like every year, every driver has at least one race that may not be up to par. Is the 9th place finish that he had there, scoring only 12 points, or is that a 12th place finish? 9th place finish, scoring only 12 points there for Kyle Cheney at the first round. Is that going to be his bad race of the year? And if that's the case, man, he is looking pretty good heading into these final 2 rounds, like you said, with a 24-point lead coming into this one today. But hey, man, there's still a light of a chance. There's still a light at the end of the tunnel there for Larry Hendershot.
There definitely is, and Larry's not giving up. I talked to him on the starting line, and he said it's not over. He's going to put his head down, do his very best, keep Kyle Cheney in sight. His goal was actually to get ahead of Kyle Cheney, but it's not worked out for him just yet, but it's an early race.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. I know that Cheney is a very calculated and fast driver. I know that Hendershot is also an extremely fast driver and a lot more calculated than he was, say, 3 years ago when I rode with him in the car there in Masontown, West Virginia. But what I'm getting at is the fact that both of these drivers seem to be very mature. Cheney winning the championship last year, and of course with Hendershot being in the hunt and thick of things, basically since the UTV revolution has come around, we've seen him grow by leaps and bounds as a driver. Not only does he have the speed's never been the question. It's a matter of being able to know when to slow down and go fast at the same time.
Yeah, we say it probably every race, but to finish first you got to finish.
And and in this type of racing, people may not realize that what we're seeing here are open field sections where they're winding through, or we're catching just where they're popping out of the woods or something like that. What you don't realize, Chuck, and I mean, I know you do, you've driven these things before, you get out there, we are doing true GNCC style racing. These guys are going in between trees that may or may not be wide enough for them to get through. Sometimes they are rubbing and scraping both sides of the machine just trying to get through and find a line out there. And when you start to get creative, sometimes what a hole that looks like it may be big enough may not be big enough, and that's why oftentimes we see a driver literally disappear from one lap to the next.
Absolutely. The most common breakdown, the most common mechanical with UTV racing is tie rod ends.
Yep.
And what happens is the driver miscalculates the width of his machine versus the width of the trees, and he'll tag a tire on a tree. And he might not center punch it, but he'll just tag it enough. Yep. And these 1,400-pound machines, you don't have to plow it.
Right.
You just tap that tire, and you can break a tie rod end. And so the aftermarket companies have done a great job of building product that withstands things. But every round, we get to see people getting towed out of the woods.
Yeah,
and usually it's a front-end steering issue.
And probably of all the forms of UTV racing, the side-by-side racing that you witness, this may be the most challenging on-man machine, just simply because of the layout of the trail, because of the uniqueness of the style trail. You see the enduro cross style tracks and stuff that they make, or I think they call it terra cross and things like that, but you know, those are pretty massive and pretty gnarly, but there's nothing like hitting a tree at 20, 25, 30 miles an hour, clipping a tree at 25, 30 miles an hour. And like you said, 1,400-pound machines, man, that's just metal. It will bend, it will break, no matter how good the aftermarket companies do. And they do an outstanding job. These machines are built basically by the aftermarket companies. I mean, you get a base stock model machine, and then after that, you go to work to be competitive. You go see some of those aftermarket companies, and you build these ultimate racing machines, which what we're looking at right now.
You know, Rodney, it's interesting that you bring that up because in today's marketplace, if you were to go out there and build an XC1 car and pay retail for everything, you're looking at spending about $50,000.
Wow. That's, and you work into that, and you work into that with sponsorships, you work into that with, you know, starting out there in some way, shape, or form, you know, either on the back row and work your way up, or if you're fortunate enough to be like some of the guys like the Oakley family who comes from a racing background, the Cheneys and those guys, to fit in right at the right places at the right times. You're not going to get those kind of rides, but they are out there, and they are available, and they will be coming to more of them, I think, in the future for sure. Right now, as we check in with things, last time we checked, we had 2 laps complete, and that's what we're looking at right now. We're about less than 4 minutes now from the completion of lap number 3. Last time out, it was almost 30 seconds that Kyle Cheney had over Tim Farr, the number 4 car. Steve Matko, the 591, that wicked-built machine, is running in the number 3 position. Then you got the 995 of John Barnes there in 4th place. 5th place is Jason Luberg, the 101. And I'm not sure, that name rings a lot of bells for me. There was a Luberg that hailed from this part of Ohio some 10 years or so that was one of the top ATV motocross national stars. Would probably be somewhere in the neighborhood. Let's see, how old is this guy? We'll look for his age on here. 32, would be about 32 years old, as a matter of fact, at this time. So that might be the legendary Jason Luberg back on the racetrack. If that's the case, man, my hat's off. I'm glad to see him back at it, man. That's awesome.
You know, folks, I have the privilege of sitting next to ATV trivia motocross man himself, the legend, Rodney Tomlin.
I don't know about that, but I do recall and know a lot of stuff. It makes me feel old because a lot of this history that I speak, I witnessed it for myself.
Well, that's really cool. I heard you talking about him on the starting line as they were taking off, and I don't have any way to look that up, but I just thought that was really cool. And with age comes cage.
Exactly. And you know, Luberg, Jason was an amazing rider. He was a great line. He could choose great lines, and I mean, he knows how a track flows, and he knows. So, you know, we could see something pretty amazing out of him. Something else I want to point out, since we're on the subject of ATV motocross, XC2 Pro Sport class row, well, I think it was around row 8, 9, something like that. The 55 car that we see out there, hailing out of Wisconsin, the cheese mobile out there, you know. We're talking about Digger Doug Gust, who was a multi-time ATV motocross national champion, who is also an excavator, how he got the name Digger Doug, and now he's a crop duster. He flies crop dusting planes. Yeah, he retired from ATV motocross as a superstar, literally. He rode for Rockstar Suzuki back in the heyday, man, and just before the everything went south as far as the economy, he was able to step out and be a huge star and leave on top of the game, man. I mean, there's not many guys that have that kind. But he went into crop dusting. I thought that was the coolest thing. And sometimes he'll come by a racetrack if we're close by and literally buzz the announcer's tower.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I didn't know that part of the Doug Gust story, the Digger Doug. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. I just looked him up. He's in 8th place in the XC2 class right now. He was right on Mike Penland's tail as they took off from the XC2 starting line, and Mike's in 11th place, and Doug's in 8th place in that class. So both of those guys are names that are synonymous with racing and legendary names, and that just shows you the level of competition that's out here on GNCC today.
Something I wanted to expand on. I know that we have talked about the greatness that Mike Penland has achieved through what he did with ATV, basically utility ATV racing, becoming the first real star and introducing to the rest of the world a multi-time champion. I mean, he's won about every venue of ATV racing available on that type of machine. But think about the big picture. You know how popular that form of racing is now, and what it stems from, what this racing stems from, these kinds of machines, these UTVs, ATVs, UTVs, those were built because of the success of the ATVs, the utility ATVs, and now we see these utility side-by-sides turn race cars as well. So, you know, in all honesty, I'm going to give Mike Penland the credit for producing this kind of racing, whether he had anything to do with it or not directly. Indirectly, I think this is all, it all spawns from what he started so many years ago when he first started racing, and back in 2004 when Kawasaki gave him his first paycheck to race a Kawasaki Prairie.
That Prairie 650.
650. And there's Kyle Chaney checking in. So I just want to say kudos and hats off to Mike Penland, because I think he is kind of the grandfather of UTV racing in a lot of different ways, and still out there, and he's out there competing. I think that's awesome. So,
well, I don't think anybody could argue with that. I mean, back in the day with who would have thought to go racing on a utility four-wheeler, and Mike Penland did it so well, and next thing you know, that takes off. Well,
it spawned many careers. Mike Swift, who won the 4x4 Pro class today and is racing out here as well. I think he got the, no, he didn't get the whole shot. He was like last off the line, but regardless, in his car, had it not been for Mike Penland and giving him a goal to try to work and achieve, he would have never reached what he did. The first time I met Mike Swift, he was camping in a tent riding a Recon Honda, or no, it was a Rancher, and it was in Florida at the Orange Crush GNCC in 2005. He comes up to me, he says, "Hey, let me wear the helmet cam. I want to show you how to beat Mike Penland." Well, the funny thing about that is he didn't beat him, but he eventually did learn how to beat him, and the factories came in, and I mean, just what all that spawned. I mean, and Mike was telling me, you know, he had guys come that would say they come from all over the place just to beat Mike Penland or just to race with Mike Penland. So, hey, man,
it's really cool to see Mike Penland still coming around the track.
Know it.
He only comes to the UTV rounds
now.
He came up to me and said, "Hey, were you at Unadilla?" And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I was too." And so, what were you doing there? He said, "Just watching, cheering my friends on." So he's got racing in his blood, and he still gets to go out here and drive a car. So
he's
Rodney,
happy.
we
got to change.
We need to talk about
You mentioned this. Now, this is something you were talking about a few moments ago when we were watching the racing unfold. We're going to pick back up with that here in just a second, get a little more intense and closer with that. But Tim Farr on adjusted time, and I wondered if it was going to happen or not. 21 seconds behind somebody out there. But regardless, I think that's Chaney, actually. He's 21 seconds behind Chaney on the clock, physically on the racetrack. But on the elapsed time right now, he is 8 seconds faster after 3 laps of racing. So he's got an 8-second time-adjusted lead right now. 29:12.7 for Tim Farr, a 29:25 for Kyle Chaney. So that's your top two. Steve Matco is third. John Barnes, the 995 car, is fourth, and Bill Patterson is fifth aboard the 32 car. By the way, that Wicked Bill car by Matco, the 591 machine, is that third-place car, the Wicked Built machine, in honor of L.P. McGuire, little Pat
That's
McGuire.
Right, little Pat.
Yep.
You know, what I'm seeing here is that Larry Hendershot right now, he's
wow.
still running. He's still got 3 laps in, but he's in 7th place.
We'll look at a lap time here. We see that Farr turned a 10:23, a 10:32 for Chaney. Now, here's where we see a big difference. Those front 2 cars are running in the 10.5-minute mark or better. Everyone else is 11 minutes a lap faster until you get down here into the field of drivers. 10:55, just under the 11-minute mark. A 101 car in 7th place, Jason Luberg, trying to move up right now.
Yeah, there's a disparity there. I mean, our front runners, and this is part of GNCC racing, is that right now the track is clear. They're not having to deal with too many lappers. They've got clear passage to go as fast as they want. And some of these guys that are trying to come through the pack, it takes a little bit longer to get around a car in front of you.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was looking at that wrong. That's actually Mouse Pratt. Luberg, that wasn't Luberg with the 10:55 lap time. It's Mouse Pratt in 6th place. Sorry about that. But pointing that out, the lap times, look at the lap time of Larry Hendershot. He's dropped from 2nd now all the way, to 6th place it looks like. 7th place.
8th on
place
adjusted
now.
time now.
Yeah,
and that does not bode well for his championship hopes. Right now, if this were to, Kyle Chaney needs to beat Larry Hendershot by 6 points today. Ooh. Not 6 places, but 6 points.
And that right there is looking like he's got that 6 points covered fairly easily.
halfway through the race.
Yeah, halfway through the race. 33 minutes into this one, working on 34. It is Tim Farr leading Kyle Cheney, Steve Matco in third, John Barnes in fourth. Bill Patterson rounds out your top five, and GNCC Live continues right after this.
General RV is going to help you go camping with locations across the nation and thousands of RVs to choose from. General RV is the nation's largest family-owned RV dealer. At General RV, you'll save thousands on everything from trailers that sleep the whole family right up to motorhomes that are amazing and so economical to travel in. General RV is the only dealer who can show you this much and save you this much. With a great deal from General RV, you'll discover how much fun camping can be.
I'm a sore loser.
I'm a sore loser. Losing is not an option for me.
Be the best.
The best? The best.
You have to have the best equipment under the hood.
That's why
I only use
Cometic products in my engines.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket.
Cometic gasket, a superior quality gasket
For those of us who demand the highest level of performance.
Three, I think. And welcome back to GNCC Live, coming to you from St. Clairsville, Ohio, a little south of the rock and roll capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio, a couple hours to our north, of course. And, well, I tell you, here in the great Buckeye state of Ohio, just to our west, is the Pickerington, Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, the home of the American Motorcyclists Association. But, man, some of the beautiful shots of Cleveland. That is an epic town, no doubt about it. A wild place, a different place, and a lot of folks from around northeastern Ohio frequent that place. Myself, never been there, but I know coming here to Powerline Park, I love this part of the country and this part of the state of Ohio. So,
well, you can tell that was a pre-recorded shot on Racer TV because everybody's wearing T-shirts.
Yeah.
We're in here in snowmobile suits. Yes.
I don't know that snowmobile suits would actually do it justice today. I could use another layer, to be honest with you. But Chuck,
sure.
We're checking this one out right now. We're 36 and a half minutes into this race, and already we're starting to develop the storyline of a new champion possibly being born in this one. I don't know, 30 points is what it's going to take to separate him. You said 9 points, I believe, as or how many points?
I think 6 points.
Six
if Kyle
points.
Cheney comes out
Yes,
of this
that's right.
6 points further ahead of Larry Hendershot, then he's got it.
Yeah.
Because
so,
right now he's got a 24-point lead.
And that would historically mark our first repetitive national UTV champion, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know that anyone has repeated it, have they?
Yeah, William Yoakley.
Did he repeat it?
Oh, yes.
I didn't think he went back-to-back like that. Maybe he did. I know in the early days, true. He's been around a few years, but, man, it's amazing.
2008 was our first year, and it was Yoakley, and then Yoakley at 9, and Yoakley at 10. I mean, the early days of UTV
so they was
racing
totally
was
dominated by
Yoakley dominated.
And, you know, I was even here for that. I guess it all ran.
Well, I was out there racing it. You always tend to pay more attention when you're in it.
It all ran. Yeah,
to give him credit, William Yoakley, he started out, he was on the 4th row today, and it looks like he's worked his way into 8th place. I think that's worthy of mentioning since he's a previous multi-time national champion and had a tough year. He looks like he's got a good ride going today.
Yeah, that's good for him. Do you notice the race fans alongside the racetrack got them little warming fires built up out there, little campfires to
brought one of those down here for us.
Yeah, put one right here in the middle of this broadcast tent.
That's right.
Oh, I think we created the ultimate wind tunnel whenever we created our new broadcast studio, to be honest with you.
Oh,
no,
there's the UTV fun that we've been talking about. Usually it's a front end dragging, but this guy is dragging his right rear, and the car doesn't want to move too well with that.
No,
looks like Justin Fleming, the number 58.
Oh man, what a heartbreaker there for Fleming.
Hey, you know, that's racing. I'm going to go until it won't go. I'll take as many points as I can get.
Well, I know how that is. When I rode with Hendershot, we ended up like that, 3 wheels. We raced like that. We'll see if this guy does or not.
He's coming to see Ricky here.
Yeah. I don't think Larry would succumb to the fact that we were only running with 3. He got mad because we were stuck in a bottleneck, and the guy behind us literally pounded us into the right wheel about 3 times before. We had a bad sport behind us, I think.
Yeah. Oh, and Ricky's telling him, hey, you got to do something. You can't sit right there.
You can't sit right there. You got to move. Ricky, I love
Ricky,
him.
yeah, we love you, man.
I love Ricky Towery, and I've about got him down, man. I can just
got him.
do a Ricky Towery. He's got one of the coolest South Carolina accents I've ever heard.
And he loves the sport, too.
Oh, man. Every weekend he is out at some racetrack someplace. You know, we need to do a feature on Ricky Towery because that man is, I think, what racing is, GNCC racing and off-road racing is all about. There's Kyle Cheney checking in now.
He'll be coming. I think we just missed him. He came by the announcer's booth here, I think. There he is.
All right, there he is.
By the
Yes, he
announcer's booth,
is.
so he's getting ready to come into the finish line chute.
This will be for lap 4 complete. And he's actually about right on schedule, so maybe losing a few seconds that lap, and that would make a lot of sense. You look at the lap traffic that's starting to come in just ahead of him, and some right behind him that he just worked his way through. There's the 4 car right there.
Getting ready to pop out of the woods, come by the announcer's tower, and that'll be Tim Farr, and let's see if he can maintain that plus 20 second. If he can stay within 20 seconds of Kyle Cheney, then Tim Farr will remain our leader on adjusted time.
10 minutes, 40-second lap time for Kyle Cheney that last time. His elapsed time, 40 minutes, 0.625 of a second. So that's going to make it easy to judge the time, how far ahead or how far behind folks are.
Yeah, that tells us that there should be a 2-lap card out. Hey, there it is.
Yeah. And 30 seconds behind is Tim Farr, and Tim Farr's lap time dropped from a 10, was it 17 or 23? I think it was a 10:17 to a 10:49. 30 seconds behind Kyle Cheney now is Tim Farr. On adjusted, or on physical time, I guess it would be. On adjusted time, he's only 1.8 seconds different.
Yes.
So you got to look at the two columns.
1.2 seconds different.
Yeah, you might as well say 1.2 seconds.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right. It's
yeah.
You're absolutely. I wasn't doing the math properly. You're right.
So he's basically 1 second out of the lead. He's physically behind by 30 seconds, but just by 1 second he could have the lead again. So
and the thing about that is, you know as well as I do, and these guys aren't racing head to head, so they really don't know what's going on. That's a hard thing, man. I mean, and how many times is Kyle Cheney going to be able to say, I know where I lost that second? Or is Tim Farr going to say, I know where I lost that second, or I know where I gained that second to win that race, or whatever the case may be? I mean, it's funny. Whenever you get down, we're literally splitting hairs figuratively on time when you come down to this. 1.2 seconds, and if you wanted to get even more technical than that, I would say it's 1.1 something other.
Yeah, I can't do that much math.
No, I can't. But I mean, it's getting down there pretty close into the hundreds and thousands, getting closer and closer.
And of course, these guys don't have radios with their crews, so they don't know that. They just know that they have to go out there and do their best. Kyle Cheney right now knows that he has to keep his car together. He knows that he's physically in the lead, but who's chasing him on time?
Yep. Steve Matko is trying right now, back in the number 3 position. He's about 49 seconds behind Cheney on adjusted time. Bill Patterson, almost 1 minute, 59 seconds. He's back in the number 4 spot overall. So when you start looking at it there, the comfort zone's a little wider. But again, you got to think, man. I mean, how much time can you gain or lose in just a few moments out here in GNCC racing, and especially in this form with this many cars and the lap traffic we're starting to see and the changes we're starting to see here is William Yoakley has now moved into a top 5 position. You called this, it's a good day, a good strong day for him, and it's continuing strong as he moves up a spot now as we do the adjusted time. 10:20 lap time, that was one of the fastest so far. The fastest lap time turned in was by Yoakley in 5th place that time. He is 1 minute and 4 seconds behind Kyle Cheney on adjusted time right now. So if he could do that for 5 more laps, he might be able to do it.
He's only got 2 laps to go, though.
Yeah.
But you know what? He needed a good ride today. He really did. He's had 4 terrible rides. Like the worst rides of his life have all happened consecutively, and they've all been this season. So
yeah, and it's a heartbreaker too, because I mean, you could almost say that the Yoakley family has kind of built a small dynasty in this UTV, this side-by-side style racing. You've got William, you've got his nephew John, and then you've got John Allen's what they call him, I guess. And then you got his other nephew Sam, who races the aces, the single seats. And of course, I'm sure Williams' brother, Big John Yoakley, would be more than happy to get into a car eventually as well. But you talk to him on Saturday night, he's not so much into it. But I imagine Saturday morning gets a little more tasty to him. But regardless, they're racing family. John was what got William into this, and now of course you've got the two boys of John out there, John Allen and Sam, and you got William. So to me, that's kind of a small dynasty of racing in this UTV, especially whenever you're winning, because remember, John Allen and William were the ones to beat for a long time.
For a long time there, and they've built up a following. I mean, William does a lot of actually, William does a lot of car setup there in Tompkinsville, Kentucky, and a lot of people bring him their cars, and he helps them. He actually helped me back when I was racing.
That's awesome. He helped Sam, little nephew Sam there, too, that he talked into going racing, GNCC racing for the very first time this year in the Polaris Ace. And actually, we caught up with Sam after his win today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Racer TV's coverage of the Powerline Park 2015. We're here with our Polaris Ace race winner this morning, Sam Yoakley. Sam, tell us a little bit about the course out there today, and how was it in this Ace?
It was a great course. They put a great course together, and it was all just perfect. And I got the whole shot, and the Ace done perfect.
I tell you what, it looked like the equipment was working good today.
Yeah, those A-arms, Racer Tech A-arms, done really good and cleared everything I needed to clear to get around the track and get the win for me.
Any trouble spots whatsoever out there?
No, I didn't have much trouble. I about flipped a couple times, but I got it back together and just rode it on in for the win.
There you have it. Just another day in the office for Sam Yoakley in our Polaris Ace race here today.
I got to wonder, man, did they like change voice? Do they like share the same voice box? Because they all sound the same, man.
It's that
you talk
corner
to
of
William, you
Kentucky.
talk to John Allen, you talk to Sam. They almost sound identical. I mean, that's crazy. And John don't sound anything like him. Well, a little bit, I guess. But, yeah, I mean, it's a pretty tight-knit family, and it's good to see. And congratulations, Sam.
They're good people.
Yeah, they are good people. I don't know how that does for Sam for the championship, but I think that's his second win. He won the first round and this round, so that's a good start for a championship anyway, and it's inaugural season of Polaris Ace Racing. I look for that to really take off. It's an all-new off-roading experience, and it is. If you've ever been in one, you think the side-by-sides are cool? Get in one of those, man. Those are a blast, especially when you get one. I mean, even straight off the showroom floor, the Polaris Ace is something spectacular to ride in. But when you get it race ready like this, it's even a lot more fun. Right now, 4 minutes due in. We'll find out whether, actually 3.5 minutes due in. Kyle Cheney and then Tim Farr not far behind him there. We'll find out whether or not that 1.2 seconds is going to be able to be made up by Farr on this lap. It doesn't have to necessarily be this lap. When it comes out on the final lap is the one we're looking for, checkers.
That'll be when the real racing really happens, is that last lap. When we've got something this close, it's always a fun race to watch to the very end. You know, we've got about 3 minutes before they come through, and so let's take a quick look at the XC2 guys. It looks like Sean Bogdan has taken command of that race, and he's actually worked his way up into the top 15 overall, it looks like.
Yeah, Bogdan turning an 11:11 lap time, so he's actually running pretty good pace time with those guys there, I think, from XC1, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's got a very competitive, respectable lap time. Right behind him is Chris Brockway, and Chris Brockway ran a 10:59 the last lap, and that puts him within about 22 seconds of Sean Bogdan. So there's a nice little battle going on in the XC2 class, and that is actually the class that Michael Swift is contesting, and Swift is behind Kriselich in points. We've got a championship points battle there, separated by 3 points between Joe Kriselich and Michael Swift.
Wow. Swift right now, last time he checked in was all the way back in 6th place. So, man.
Kriselich is in 3rd. So
wow.
that's going to widen the gap a little bit.
It is going to widen it a little bit. We've also got time here for things to change if you think about the big picture here. And Michael Swift just moved up to 5th, at least for the moment. He's 10.5 seconds behind Seth Mitchell. Looking at lap times right now for Michael Swift, he turned an 11:11. That's 11 seconds slower than Kreselich's last lap time. So that's probably going to put him about 37 seconds on adjusted time. 37 seconds. But we haven't seen, we have seen him check in for his fourth lap. So he's now 37 seconds behind, 2 laps to go in that battle, I think. So that could get very interesting over, of course, these next 2 laps. Again, got to take into consideration track conditions. They're deteriorating, they're changing, lines are changing out there lap after lap, and the traffic is getting heavier toward the end of the race for those guys that are a little ahead in their classes and running those faster lap times. They're starting to catch up to the rest of the field out there.
You know, you mentioned deteriorating track conditions, and it's interesting because at the beginning of the race, there was a lot of dust, and I know it's an overcast day. You don't normally think of dust. It looks like a lot of that's blown off, and we're not really battling the dust like we were at the beginning of the race. It's kind of been windswept, and the track's it's getting rougher, but it's not really falling apart like it does in a hot, dry day, or like it does in a wet, muddy condition day. So, looks like our lighting conditions are kind of difficult for our camera crew. But you know what? It's probably difficult for our drivers too. I've been out there on a day like this, on an overcast day. The light it's getting dark earlier, and you're out there in the woods. That's something for our drivers. That's yet one more obstacle for them to overcome.
It most certainly is, and if you don't have the right lens choice, like an amber lens on a day like today,
for a shooter's lens.
Yeah, you would might end up paying some huge dividends because of that. Because what it does, literally, we're a little late for Kyle Cheney checking in, but here he comes right now, I think.
Yeah,
is
well,
like that far right behind him?
That's far.
Right on him physically.
Physically.
On him.
So he gained not just the 1.2 seconds. He's all over him.
And he wants the physical lead in this when they say come.
You can tell. Look at the attitude of the driving. Tim Farr's on a mission.
Wow, yes, he is right now. Let's see what that turns into. 10:40 lap time for Cheney that last time around. 10:49 by Tim Farr. This time a 10:40 once more, and I don't have a lap time showing up for Tim Farr right now. I don't know whether he didn't scan coming through or whatever the case may be, whether my scoring computer's messed up, but there we go. A 10:10 lap time for Tim Farr. On adjusted time, he is leading. A 10:40 lap time by Kyle Cheney. Wow.
10:10.
A 10-minute, 10-second lap time by Tim Farr. The elapsed time, you look at the elapsed time now, he's leading by, what is that, 28 seconds.
Yeah, that's, wow. William Yoakley up to this point had turned the fastest with a 10:20, and now Tim Farr's just busted out with a 10:10.
Wow.
And to gain 28 seconds in one lap against a champion like Kyle Cheney, that's some driving, folks.
Wow, yeah. We might see the winds of change start to blow here at ITP Powerline Park as Bill Patterson checks in physically in the number 3 spot right now in the number 32 car. He's hailing from Morgantown, West Virginia. And Bill Patterson's co-driver there, Mr. Mike Isaacson, holding on for dear life right now, I'm sure. What happened to Matco, I think, is probably one of the big questions right now. There he is. He checks in. Chime adjustment puts him back in the number 3 spot.
He told me, I don't think you were in the booth when I mentioned this to the Racer TV audience, but Matco caught me earlier and said, hey, don't talk about me. Every time you guys talk about me, something happens.
All right, I don't know who you're talking about then.
Right.
That guy in the number 3 spot.
In the Wicked-Built car.
With the Wicked-Built car.
Number 591. He's driving pretty good today.
He most certainly is, and he's got an 11-second lead on a time adjustment over the fourth place car, the 4th second car.
Yeah, the 4th second car.
It's been a long day. Hans Ada, 796, out of Marietta, Ohio. He's got Austin Lurch in the passenger seat with him, and he is in 6th place as we see another change. William Yoakley has checked in, and I know that's one that we're following. Remember, we said he had a 10:20 lap time last time around. Well, Chucky turned a 10:28 lap time this time around. It's still fast enough to move him up in the overall.
10:24, actually. Looks like it was that 591 that you got a 10:28, and then the 10:24 belongs to Yoakley. So 4 seconds slower, but moving him up in position. So William Yoakley, starting from, he came into this in 20th place today in points, because just like I said, 4 terrible races. Started on the 4th row and has worked his way up well inside of the top 5.
I want you to look at adjusted time right there, if you would. If anybody is at home right now watching this and watching timing and scoring, The elapsed time for William Yoakley, who is in 4th place, 51 minutes, 28 seconds, .359. For your 5th place driver, Bill Patterson, with his elapsed time, 51:28.812. That's 0.5 of a second difference. A half second is what separates them on adjusted time and for that position right now.
That's pretty cool. That's some racing. These guys, they don't know what's going on, but when they get home and they start looking at lap times and saying woulda, coulda, shoulda, that's definitely going to be a point of discussion around the dinner table.
Well, Marcus Pratt out there, and that's not, is that Mouse, I believe? But Marcus, anyway.
No.
Yeah,
Mouse is down in 9th place.
Oh, that's right. He's actually listed as Mouse. I forgot about that. But Marcus Pratt, the number 9 car out of Carmichael's, PA, checking in now 6th place. I believe that's 6th physically on the racetrack. I'm not real sure what's going to happen with time adjustments, but looking at his lap times, Chuck, he's got some very comparable lap times to these guys up front. He's got a 10:34. Oh, that's Ada that just checked in. He's got a 10:33. Bill Patterson, top 5's got a 10:29. Yoakley's got a 10:24 lap time, a 10:28 for Steve Matko, 10:40 for Kyle Cheney, and the 10:10 for Tim Farr. That 10:40's a pretty long lap time for Kyle Cheney when you look into what the history of this race has been for him. You got to wonder what happened on that lap. Do these guys, they don't have to pit stop, I wouldn't think. So I would almost have to think that either A, a mistake was made, got stuck, bounced off a tree, got wedged in someplace, or lap traffic literally slowed him down that much he just couldn't get around them.
That's possible, and yet Tim Farr just apparently just had the perfect lap and cleared sailing and was able to catch up to the bumper of Kyle Cheney. And the question is, what's going on with those two right now?
And, you know, Tim Farr and anybody else coming up through that pack right now, again, has the advantage. You hear us say this all the time. The first guy to lap the field, it's tougher for him to get through because the lappers don't realize they're being lapped. But once that first place guy goes through, then they start to realize, oh, there's fast guys coming up lapping me right now. So then they start watching out and listening out and being a little more forgiving, I guess.
Forgiving. I mean, they don't stop their race. They just take maybe the wide line instead of the inside line.
Exactly.
It doesn't really slow them up to get lapped, but it can certainly slow up the lapping person.
Yeah, but one thing to point out in this, too, these drivers do have horns in their cars, so if they are lapping someone, they can blow their horns, and that may be a good signal. But still, until they hear that horn, they're not going to realize that they're being lapped. And once they do, it makes it a lot easier to ensure that everyone else gets through a little easier. So it may have been something like that. It could be that Cheney just slowed down. His foot got a little tired and couldn't push the pedal down as far. I mean, we're still talking a fast lap time, though. So.
We are talking a fast lap time, and guys in the XC2 class just wish that they could do a 10:40 on a bad day. You know?
Wow, yeah.
They're struggling. They're fighting to get an 11-minute lap time, which is awesome. But here we're talking about Kyle Cheney saying, why is he so slow at 10:40? And, you know, you mentioned the air horns that the rules made possible for this year. Each XC1 car can have an air horn in it, and that's the responsibility of the co-driver is to blow that air horn. And but it tends to run out of gas, and with all the bouncing around out there, I learned this today, with all the bouncing around, sometimes they don't work at all. They'll just spit out the gas and it's in the liquid form instead of the air form. So anyway, as we look at this race, we're kind of trying to figure out right now what's happening with Tim Farr and Kyle Cheney, and is Tim Farr going to take the physical lead?
Well, I tell you, he was in the hunt and the mark, ready to do it. We'll know here in just a moment. They'll be checking in right here. Hey, folks, just want to let you know, you competitors that want to participate in tomorrow's motorcycle racing, there's no wait, or not much of a wait anyway, at sign up. Come on down and get registered tonight. Once again, come down. Registration is going to be open for the next little bit. If you want to register for tomorrow's racing, make your way down to sign up right now.
Well, that's a pretty amazing announcement to make because registration's usually always got a line.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that a lot of folks are probably watching this race. There's a lot of people here watching racing this weekend. We got a lot of fans in Ohio. They like to ride. They like to race themselves. But they're as big a fan of the sport as they are a hobbyist at it, I believe. 2 minutes is when our leaders should be checking in with us here pretty soon. Now, that leader, I believe, would be Kyle Cheney. since he had the physical lead.
He had the physical, and Tim Farr all over him. And
yeah, but Tim Farr, just like you said, he was all over him. There was literally, you couldn't hardly put a piece of paper between their bumpers when they came through the finish line there. So what's it going to be? Farr was on fire, and
his co-driver, and I think you mentioned this, but his co-driver is women's national champion Angel Knox today.
Yep, WXC. I think that was her 3rd national championship title that she claimed here today, if I'm not mistaken. I know at least 2, but I'm pretty sure that was number 3.
I think you're right.
And that was pretty cool. We had several champions on the line for the WXC. Tracy Pickens was out there again, Checo. She made about 200 feet and her bike blew up.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Brand new motor. I felt
she
bad
was
for
smiling too big for that to be the truth. I think she just likes the thrill of the start.
Yeah, she's usually pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And her husband today rode a 250R, a 1988 250R in the Vet A class.
No way.
Yeah, he did. Jeff did.
How'd he end up?
I don't know. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't. He rode a 250R. You're right. Approaching the 1 hour mark in this one, and checkers will be coming out soon. We're waiting on Farr and Cheney to find out what's going on. We're waiting on Matco and Yoakley and Patterson to see how that time adjustment's going to pan out also. Still plenty of room for changes as we roll on. And there is the number 4 car out front by himself. Tim Farr in that gunk liquid-rich Can-Am back machine, rounding the final few turns, trying to get around that lap traffic right now.
He says, I know it's a lapper, but I want to pass him.
The 847 car is
Craig
Greenwood out of Waynesburg, PA. And Tim Farr, my friends, just pulls off the big win here today, and it's monumental in the fact that it's going to close the championship points race up now. How many? We'll find out here soon. But no, wait a minute. That wasn't Farr. That's Larry Hendershot that's in the points race. The points race.
It's Hendershot in the points race, but the number 4 of Tim Farr just took the physical lead.
I got really excited there for a second.
That's all right. That's all right because we still don't know what's happening with Kyle Cheney. He should have been right there. Matter of fact, looking at Tim Farr's lap time on that 6th lap, he ran a 10.5.
Wow.
The guy found some speed somewhere, didn't he?
Yeah, and Hendershot, by the way, is all the way back in 14th place.
Well, if Kyle Cheney takes 2nd place today, that's going to secure the championship.
Yeah, so basically right now, Hendershot's got to be hoping that something happens to the number 1 car, your defending champion.
Who we still haven't seen. Who was nose to tail with Tim Farr at the end of lap number 5. At the end of lap number 6, Bill Patterson checks in now ahead of Kyle Cheney physically on the racetrack, and that's going to be on time adjustment. There's the 591 car. That's Steve Matco in the Wickett-built machine. Still no sign of Kyle Cheney. We may still have a championship. We might have to go to Ironman.
It looks like it's going to go to the Ironman, and the farther back he falls, the closer together he and Hendershot are going to be, and the more detrimental it is going to be to win for both these guys coming into the final round of racing. Wow, we may be watching the drama unfold right here before our very eyes. Still no sign of Cheney. Tim Farr is in. Bill Patterson is in. Steve Matco, I believe, has checked in.
Yeah, we can say his name now. The race is over.
And
Stephen Matco put on a great ride today. It looks like he's going to land himself on the podium.
Yeah.
And that all new to him, Wickett-built Can-Am machine.
Well, we'll see. That might not have been him there just a second ago, or coming at the finish line. There he is. Yeah, that's him coming through now. Is that Cheney? No.
Nope. That's
still not Cheney. Can-Am, but not Cheney. Here comes Matco now. And he checks in 3rd place, 32 seconds behind Bill Patterson. Still no sign of Kyle Cheney as we wait and we watch here at the finish line. And the championship in this one, again, is on end right now as Kyle Cheney, your defending champion, one that was looking to wrap up the title here today, had it all but taken care of, could have even driven to the 2nd place finish behind Tim Farr. Must have not wanted to relinquish that physical overall lead that could have paid hugely in the favor of
we even had the fat lady about ready to sing on that
one.
We
did. She was warming up, I'm telling you. She had her pipes warmed up, but she is now gone back into the closet. We're going to put her away. Fat lady, get back in the box. We will pull you out next week whenever we know you can sing.
Because it'll be to somebody is going to win the championship for sure in 2 weeks at Ironman.
No doubt about that. Yoakley checks in
real
fourth
surprise.
place. Yoakley is in now in fourth place. Still no sign of Kyle Cheney. Where is Kyle Cheney? I guess one thing to do is to find our radio and
see what's going on. Now, wasn't it last lap that Bill Patterson and William Yoakley were separated by just a half a second?
Yes. Yes,
and
it was.
then Bill Patterson moved from 5th to 2nd?
Yes.
Wow.
Oh, my. Wow.
That's strong driving.
No
He
doubt.
turned to 10:17 on that last lap.
Yoakley
William Yoakley turned to 10:32.
Yep.
And Matko turned to 10:31.
Well, my radio, I must have left it on my quad. I can't get in contact. Maybe the studio producer get on channel 1. Ask the guys, the track crew, if we got a sighting of the 1 car of Kyle Cheney yet anywhere. Marcus Pratt is checked in the number 5 spot now. Still no sign of Kyle Cheney as he continues to fall back. The points race tightens up between he and Larry Hendershot. Larry Hendershot, last we knew, was 14th place. So the farther back he falls, the more interesting this final bid for the last race is going to get between the two.
It'll also be interesting to find out what happened to Larry Hendershot, to find out. We've got an update coming in right now.
All right,
from our
so
producer.
we just got the update from Tommy Harris, Sweepmaster Extraordinaire. Our producer, Jason Hooper, just tells us that Cheney is broke down. Now, Jason, with that being said, is he going to have to be towed in? Is that going to mean he's DNFing the... Okay, it sounds like he may be done. We haven't got the official word, but they're thinking he may be done. And, man, Lord of mercy, what's that going to do? I mean, right now, Hendershot
not able to finish that last lap. That's going to drop him way back on. I mean, he's
even if he gets points or positions, he's going to be so far back. 27 riders in that class, and depending on how many happen to go out before he did, and I think it's only the top 20 that score points anyway.
Correct.
So he's hoping that at least more than 7 or 8 or 10 of those guys.
There are 30 drivers on the lead lap. There were 30 people that have completed 5 laps so far, and we're now working on the 6th lap.
Wow, crazy. There's William Yoakley out right now. Yoakley doing a little bench racing right now.
A little celebrating there.
Yeah.
I know his wife was on him pretty hard earlier that he needed to get up there in the top 5. So
can you imagine what it's like being William Yoakley? You know, Tina likes to win as much as William likes to win.
Yeah.
She doesn't like to sit in that driver's or that passenger seat for nothing. To no avail, and she wants results. Well, she got results.
As competitive as he is. They're a great couple.
They are. They most certainly are. Well, she got results today.
She did.
She got a 4th place finish. They came from way back.
Way back.
Way back. There is in now. Let's see. We're waiting on Larry Hendershot at this point. Jamie McCoy, Paul Greenwood, 1 and 2 or 7 and 8 right now. Still no sign of Kyle Cheney.
It's going to be a difficult job to push that car to the finish line. I think that the report that we got said that it's not going to happen. So I want to see where Larry Hendershot comes in at and see if Larry's going to be able to. There was something going on with him for him to be falling all the way from the top 3 all the way back to the 14th position. So could he finish?
I'm going to have to say, man, it was because of that battle. It was the spirit of competition that he pushed himself to limits that he maybe shouldn't have done. He took
Larry?
some unnecessary. Not Larry. I'm talking about the other guy. Now, Larry, on the other hand, I think that's the same thing. I think he pushed himself to limits that was beyond where he needed to be pushing today because of the sense of urgency he had for the championship, to be honest.
It was all or nothing for Larry.
Yeah, exactly.
And so hanging it out there, he might have done something to his car early on that made it have to go a little bit slower. But right now he's in the position that if he could just finish the 6th lap and gain any kind of points, it's only going to be to his advantage come 2 weeks from now when we go meet again at Ironman.
All righty. And with that, Tim Farr, Bill Patterson, Steve Matko will be your top 3 overall. William Yoakley and Hans Ada finish up 4th and 5th. The big question, though, what's going on in the championship? Where is Larry Hendershot going to finish, and how's it going to shake up the point standings when we head to the Ironman? Stick around. We'll find out that and more when we return on GNCC Live. GNCC Live is brought to you in part by Polaris Ace, a whole new off-road experience. And by Amsoil, first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And by Maxxis, find your flow. And welcome back to GNCC Live as we are now making our way down to the podium. Megawatt Matt Watson is standing by down there, I believe, as we got the 591 Wickett-built car making its way up there. Good place to see that that car for sure. Love seeing it on the podium here today. Bill Patterson will be coming up here in a moment, but the car in the center is going to be the star of the day. We're talking about the 4 car, the Gunk Liquid Wrench Factory Can-Am machine of Tim Farr, as he pulls up onto the podium with a newly crowned WXC champion, Angel Knox, as his co-pilot today. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? Put your hands together for Tim Farr, and how about it? Congratulations, Angel Knox, on another WXC championship title. And there is the second place car coming up onto the trailer now. The 32 car, Morgantown, West Virginia's Bill Patterson moved from 4th or 5th place there on lap number 5 to the number 3 overall position. And as we look down through the standings right now, still looking to see where Kyle Cheney and Larry Hendershot right now are looking at 15th and 16th overall. But it's Tim Farr, Patterson, Matco, Yoakley, Hans Ada in 5th, Marcus Pratt in 6th, Jamie McCoy 7th, Frank Olander 8th, Chris Brockway 9th, and Paul Greenwood in 10th as we look at the Rocky Mountain ATV MC leaderboard. But again, Kyle Cheney, who stood to win the national title here today in this class, out of it and waiting on Larry Hendershot. He should be the next driver to check in here in just a couple of moments. And looks like we are getting things ready down there on the podium as Megawatt Matt Watson is all bundled up, saying congratulations to the third place car there. Steve Matco and the boys, we head on down to the podium for our celebrations at Maxxis Victory Lane with Megawatt Matt Watson.
Check, check. Check, check, check. Check, check.
All right, we'll head. All right, let's do this again. We'll head down to the podium with our pastor, or GNCC pastor, Chuck LeMaster. Or not. Hello, hey, Chuck LeMaster, can you hear me? Is the podium?
Welcome back to Racer TV Live. I am Chuck LeMaster alongside of our top 3 contenders right here on the podium, and we've got a big crowd crowded around here, and we want to give it up for these guys, and what a great race you put on. Now, I'm standing right here with the number 3 of Stephen Matco, and Stephen, you did a great job today, and congratulations to you.
Thanks.
Well, now you pulled me aside. I did say this on Racer TV, that you pulled me aside and said, "Hey, man, don't say my name out there, because every time you do, bad luck strikes." But man, you got into such a great position early on. I couldn't help it. I had to say, this is Stephen Matco, and he's really doing good. He's on you're on an all new ride to you after the break. You got you were approached by Wickett Built and had the chance to drive this car. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started off the season in my own machine. It was a Polaris RZR, and I worked pretty good. I got 3rd place at the very first race, and then after that I was in the top 10 to 15 pretty much, so I was in the 6th place coming here. But Pat asked me to drive this, and I said, yeah, because last time you said about me blowing up on Racer TV, I blew mine up.
All right, I didn't say anything like that this time. But, man, you really, you created your own destiny today. You got out there to a great start, and it looks like you must have kept it clean all day long.
Well, we're lucky. We were really flying on the first lap, and we caught up to Larry Hendershot. and I screwed up. I tried to pass him too quick, and we touched, and it shot me into a tree. So it really screwed up. I was flying the first lap.
Did you do anything to Larry Hendershot?
I don't think so. No, he kept going after that.
Okay, well that's good, because when we went to before commercial break, we were wondering where he was. So it wasn't Stephen Matko. Stephen had a great race, and who's your co-driver today?
Oh, Clint Graff.
All right, he's looks like he's in one piece. So man, congratulations to you. And who would you like to thank?
Wicked Built, Can-Am, JBC, Tire Balls, Driven Steering Wheels, OMF Wheels, Trail Armor, Crash Addicts, Garage Products, Alba Engine and Exhaust, and Stiller Motorsports, and PR2 Shocks.
Well, great job, man. Everybody give it up for Stephen Matko here. Great ride today. If I can, I'm going to work my way down the podium without falling off, and Tim Farr's let me by. We're going to come back and talk to you guys in just a second here, but as we make our way down here to the second place, man, you guys, you really put on a great ride today, didn't you?
I guess you guys are watching. You know better, but it felt good.
Well, you're the one covered in mud, so tell us a little bit about your race here.
It started out a little slow. I ran the lappers quick, and luckily got around them in some of the field sections. Actually, about mid-part of the race, I actually clipped a tree and ran up on it pretty hard, and kind of thought for a second I was done for the day, but backed up off of it and made up some time, and here we are.
Well, I'd say that you did pretty good. As we were watching, it really was a battle between, it looked like Kyle Cheney and Tim Farr were going back and forth, and you were hanging out there in the top 5, but we really weren't giving you a whole lot of press time because, you weren't there in the top 3, but then the race ends, and all of a sudden here you are in the second place position. What happened on that last lap?
Well, it just opened up a little bit, and I had a couple of people out in the woods telling me what position I was, and I figured it was make it or break it.
So that's exactly how you rode that last lap. Was the make it or break it? It was all or nothing for you.
Yeah, it was get out of the way, we're coming.
All right, fantastic. Well, man, we want to congratulate you on a great ride. Who would you like to say thanks to today?
Well, start out first and foremost, it's all possible. It wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for March Weston Company. I mean, they support us fully for almost everything. Rough Road Tires always gets our tires for us. Bike Man Performance takes us out with a lot of stuff, engines, mufflers, tuners, any kind of questions I got, he helps us out with. 84 Lumber helps us out. Coastal Racing, anytime we need anything, it's like they're always answering their phone. They're always here for support. Those guys are awesome. I can't thank them enough. The guys that help me at the house, my family, turning wrenches, cleaning, everybody knows who they are. Thank you. I couldn't do it without everybody.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for second place here. Great ride today, you guys. All right, make my way down here to the center of the podium, and Tim, you parked your car right here on the edge. Man, great job to you guys. Of course, you're up here on the podium with Angel Knox, our newly crowned women's XC champion this morning in the ATV race. And I did see your wife. She's here today, and she said that this track's a little rough. Did it live up to its reputation?
Oh, yeah, definitely. This place ruts out, and it's got so many water holes that just G out on everybody. And, I mean, by the time we run, it's pretty beat up.
Yeah, for sure. We could see that on television that you guys are getting bounced around pretty good. But you had a good co-driver in there today who had seen parts of the track anyhow. Was she able to give you some tips on where to go and what to do?
Yeah, she's great. I mean, she's been out there, and then we try to walk a couple laps together, and, man, we picked some just great lines. We hit them almost every lap, and, just a couple seconds here, a couple seconds there, and we just worked our way to the front. We hit a lot of lappers. We had bunch of times where we had to stop and back up and wait for somebody to hit a tree, but it's really hard to tell too when you're out there. I mean, you just really don't know how much time you're losing. You know you're catching, and then you lose a bunch, then you're catching again, and it's frustrating, but it's fun, and you can't overdrive the car on a track like this. It's so hard on it.
Well, that's amazing that you talk about those challenges, because you were setting records all day long. I don't know if you know this, but you were setting lap time records. You came from the second row and got to within adjusted time. You were in the lead, and then you were behind by 1 second on Kyle Cheney. And then the next lap you came around and you were glued to his bumper and you set the fastest lap at 10 minutes and 10 seconds, and then the next lap you were 10 minutes and 5 seconds. So we were just, I mean, that was, you just blew everybody away today. It was really an incredible day. So who would you like to thank?
You know, I got to thank Can-Am and JB Racing. You know, this thing ran awesome today. It was perfect. Didn't have a single problem. We made some clutch adjustments because we were a little bit worried about this track being high speed and hard on stuff, and it was the right thing to do. The thing was awesome. But yeah, Can-Am, JB, they do a great job. Fox Shocks, Gunk Liquid Wrench, Cheerwine, DWT, Baldwin Motorsports, ITP Tires. You know, the thing worked so good all day. I mean, just hooked up. There were a lot of slick, slimy hills and corners, and it just, you know, it was amazing. SSI decals, DP brakes, Hauser products, Yoshimura. Just everybody out there does a great job for me. I had to thank my wife and everybody that came out to watch today. You know, this is kind of local for us. You know, we're from Ohio, so it's as close as it gets, and it's fun. And usually, I've always run good here, just have not had any luck. So this was really good to kind of clear that.
I imagine it was. Well, Ohio fans, give it up for your neighbor, Tim Farr. All right, you guys, I'm going to get out of the way. Let's get the top three together here and get your picture taken with Ken Hill. Rodney, I'm going to throw this back to you over there in the announcer's tower.
All righty, thanks a lot there, Chuck, and congratulations to all of our competitors, and congratulations to Tim Farr on the big and monumental win here in the home state today. And those of you wondering how things work out there for the overall, Larry Hendershot checks in the number 17 place position. And as of right now, Kyle Cheney sits in 19th as the champagne celebrations take place at Max's Victory Lane. And Tim Farr celebrating it all here tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun here in Ohio, no doubt about it. So that's going to wrap things up as far as a UTV race. One more round to go, and championship is on the line. Some points gained there by Larry Hendershot. It's going to make it very interesting when we roll into the Ironman GNCC in 2 weeks. And be sure to stick around and catch more Racer TV action tomorrow.